James here, and today I'm going to be diving into the F sharp note. This is going to pertain to the video that I made using a color to play music, and I'm really just going to be diving into the notes that I feel are more not as common or not as known or not as used as much from people, maybe just because maybe in history it hasn't been used as much, or people just may not know how to use it that well. So I'm going to really show the correlation of why I believe F sharp is the silver note, the adventure note, and hopefully help showcase why that is, and play the scales and any kind of tricks on here that maybe you can see or hear that will help you get that context. So I'm going to go ahead and just start with the blues scale. I believe it's one of the easiest to learn, to teach. One of the coolest things about it, that whole using your first three fingers, just super simple. That there's a lot of that in there, and so I just believe that the blues scale is just a lot funner than the other ones. It's what I like to start out with, when I'm, maybe just doing some practice or jams, really to warm up and, just to get in the groove. It's one of those things that I'm like, it's just simple. Even when my fingers are kind of stiff, I can just really get into it, and it's no problem. So I'm going to go ahead and just showcase that. And also the other note that I'm going to be playing with F sharp is going to be E, just because I feel like it's really the, it jazzes it up and it really flows well into F sharp. So, yeah, when I get into it, I'll be kind of just really showing the scales and then discussing it a little bit after. So let's get into it. So, whenever I was starting to kind of venture through these notes and really just kind of wanting to have some type of blueprint or pattern, the sharp notes were my first real target, but I kind of realized soon that it was just a lot tougher or easier said than done, and I wanted to just knock out the notes that I really knew already kind of, when I was playing them as a kid, what they kind of sounded like or what they went with, like the D note and the E note, the B note. And so for me, I always wanted to kind of dive into the stuff maybe nobody was getting into, or the stuff that I just didn't know anything about. And so for me, I was looking at changing my tunings, just really working with different stuff, because I was always tuned in E. And so I started messing with D sharp and C sharp, and realized that those tunings are really fun and really open up a different layout for the types of notes you can play, bar chords and things like that. And when I was specifically in the tuning of C sharp, which is what I'm in now, the note that's dead center is kind of the one that you use a lot. It's typically your finisher note that correlates with your, I like to call it home bass. Like, so the note that you're tuned in is going to be like home bass. So the note that's always on your 5th fret is usually going to be the one that correlates really well with it. So, for me, I just, again, I was playing around, playing bar chords, and I just felt adventure. That was my take on it. I believe this is one of like the 3rd or 4th category I had come up with, and You know, I was really wanting to use the cool colors first, like get gold and silver and some of the cool stuff out of the way. And for me, I was like, man, this note, I think it was, I had it originally as black, and I was like, no, F for me at the beginning was like very unknown. I didn't know what to make of it, and so when I was able to start piecing together F sharp and C sharp and G sharp, then I realized, I was like, F is like way out there, like it's just off on its own with A sharp, you know, because like I said, A sharp is always backing up F. So I was like, man, those are really unique, but they're also like eerie. That was the one term that I could really correlate with those notes, was just eerie. So I didn't get that same vibe from F sharp, and so when I started playing that more and more and more, and just piecing it together with like A and E and C sharp, and I was just like, no, I am feeling like a get up and go attitude, you know, like a really, like, just exploration. That's kind of what I thought. And so that's why I liked to piece in that video, why I put like Pokemon Silver is kind of my, if I was to put like a marketing ad for that note, it would be like that cover of that game, just because that is my first real, I feel like, step into adventure. I think I was getting into like 2nd grade, and just to have like an open world adventure at my fingertips, it was nothing like it until, like, you know, maybe I hit like 8th grade or 9th grade and had like real freedom to do things, you know, and so it was just really cool. And so kind of tying back into this, you know, playing these notes, it may be hard for you guys to really kind of pick up on the sounds and where I'm coming from, but it's kind of, you have to just play with it, play the F sharp around, you know, the entire fretboard, and you know, just find out the places where it's at, and just kind of compare and contrast those notes. And like I said, it really ties together with E, the A note, C sharp, and B. Obviously, B is going to be right under it always, and that is why I tied F sharp and B as the adventure notes in that category, just because they're always as you can kind of tell, it's like they're in that same category. So some other scales that I kind of wanted to play for you guys. I don't really know the names of them as much as just how they go, and so I think it's harmonic minor and melodic minor, but I don't know which one is which. But I'm gonna go and just play it for you. So as you can tell, that's got a real different feel than the blues scale. That first part I was addicted to for like 6 months, and just, you know, wanting to do that all over the place was just like my newest thing. And so those are typically the two scales that I use the most, and are really, I kind of feel like they're the most common. You know, you've got like this more uppity B type scale, and then you've got this more like darker type scale, although you've got some other ones that, you know, that's not, that may not be a part of that scale, but what I wanted to really showcase there is just kind of using those notes that are like together really showcases the, I want to say, sinisterness of it. Just because it's just a big transition. They're going from like a lighter note to a dark note. And so those, I think there may be one more. I'm trying to think. Blues, that scale. There's also Dorian. It's been a while since I played it. Oh, that's actually an F. So, hold on. So that's Dorian, and that's kind of more of a neutral feel, as you can tell. Trying to remember my place here. Okay, sorry. So right here, as you can tell, it's kind of more of a neutral, like you're not, and you're not doing, like those are obviously your blues and the darker scales, but this is more of like your neutral. So as you can tell, you're spacing it out, and those, I mean, I feel like you only get like 3 or 4 scales you can really use. Everything else kind of branches off of that. Same thing with blues. Pentatonic is kind of incorporated in the blues scale. And I know we kind of got off topic there, but I really just wanted to showcase that note, and hopefully hearing it in those scales has kind of helped. I plan on having more videos in the future that will piece together F sharp with these other notes, but I just really wanted to emphasize this note first, kind of talk about it, and hopefully give you guys a better idea of where I'm coming from on this. So thank you.